Welcome aboard, everybody. I'm your pilot wannabe, Papa Whiskey Bravo. We're here in Ecuador, which is a significant geographical difference than my previous videos. I wanted to start the series where I'm flying around the world near the Equator. And so we're here at this airport that I'll struggle to pronounce when we're looking at the flight plan. We're in Ecuador. We're only 7 minutes south of the equator. I think we'll double check. But we're also going to be flying a jet today, which is not something I normally do. But we'll get into that more after we look at the flight plan. But our ride today is going to be the Learjet 35A from Flight Simware. But let's get to the flight plan, and we'll talk all about the plane. I mean, I'll probably talk too much about the plane, frankly, after that. So, see you there. Okay, here we are on Sky Vector. There's a couple of things I want to show you, but I guess we'll start right off. The Learjet has a lot greater range than this. I could cross this whole part of South America with no problems with nonstop. But a 4 hour, 3.5 or 4 hour nonstop flight is not in the cards for me today in real life. So we're gonna try to do under 2 hours. But let's look at the airports here. We're starting at I don't know, looks like Quito to me. Quito, Mariscal Sucre International Airport. It's in Ecuador, anyway. We're quite high already. We're at 7,910 feet. And so it's a good thing that they have a long runway here, 13,445 feet, because at that sort of altitude, I think the Learjet needs like 10,000 feet to take off or something crazy like that. Altitudes are not, well, I should say high airport elevations aren't something I'm probably going to have to deal with much past where we're starting, because this around the world near the equator is a lot of island hopping. So yeah, most of the other airports should be significantly lower than this one, especially once we get off of the continent of South America. Um, Unfortunately, SkyVector, for me anyway, once I leave the U.S., SkyVector starts getting a lot lighter in the detail, and we'll have to rely more on the information that's actually in the simulator. But not much else to know here. Good long runway. 7,910 feet elevation, which is just crazy. The place we're going, hitting this one kind of in the middle here. I was thinking about going all the way over here, which I right off the tip of my head don't remember what country this is in. We're going to look at it on Google Maps here in a second, and we'll see. But I thought about going all the way over there, but like I said, I don't have 4 hours to babysit the Xbox while it flies today. So, but let's take a look at, yeah, see, this is all the info we have on this one. Sao Gabriel de Cochiera Airport? I don't know. It doesn't even tell us what country it's in. We're gonna have to look at Google Maps for that. But it's got a 8,500 foot runway, and it's only at 249 feet of elevation. It says Radio Gabriel is 125.7. I don't know what that is, but the screwy ATC in the simulator will give us some frequencies, I'm sure. But let's talk about the equator for a minute and switch over to this. So here's the equator. Unfortunately, in Google Maps. I haven't really tried it in Bing. I think I did maybe try it in Bing, and it's about the same way. The only way you can get it to display the equator is to back this far out. We're at a point where it shows 200 miles on this little key down here. If I go in one notch closer, the equator goes away. It's very sad. So we're here at Quito. Oh yeah, we did have. I think it has the yeah. So south, uh, 7 degrees. Yeah, 7 degrees, 45 minutes if I'm reading that right. So only south of the equator by 7 degrees. So we're pretty close. So pretty close there. And then this is the airport we're flying to. Also, obviously, very close. Did it give us the longitude and latitude of Sao Gabriel? Yeah, 8 degrees. 8 degrees south. So yeah, we're staying pretty close. Staying pretty close. Um, Obviously, looking ahead, we're probably going to hit this one over here that I believe is near the mouth of the Amazon River. I, I believe this is the Amazon. That says something different. That's some sort of grande. Amazon River. Yeah, yeah. So we'll be hitting this other airport over by the mouth of the Amazon River. Then we're probably going to hit this island over here. Yeah, Fernando de Nora. Then we're probably going to hit this island out here, which I find very, very interesting. It's try to remember the name of it. We'll just click on it. Ascension. Yeah, Ascension Island. And then we'll probably head up to this island over here, and as far as where the equator is. Oh, I forgot. I'm on the wrong thing. Now we can see the equator. Yeah, there's the equator. We'll be just trying to stay near the equator. Then we'll be crossing this lower portion of Africa. It's kind of stunning to think about that the bulk of Africa is north of the equator. I don't know. I myself, just my off the cuff feeling about geography. I didn't really know that, I guess. But yeah, the bulk of Africa is north of the equator, so we'll be passing through. Let's see. I don't know how to pronounce that one for sure. Gabon, and the Republic of Congo, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and like Uganda, Kenya, a little bit of Somalia, and then all sorts of island hopping out here in the Indian Ocean. Lots and lots of island hopping, and so on and so forth. We'll get into the rest of that later. While we're over here, though, I just wanted to give a shout out to another YouTube channel, The Flying Dad. He gave me a shout out on one of his recent videos, and I want to make sure I mentioned him. He's one of the inspirations for me starting my own YouTube channel, and he kind of inspires me to attempt, anyway, to have a laid back style when I'm making the videos. I hope it's laid back and not stressful. I don't really know, but yeah, just want to give him a shout out. I really enjoy his videos. Been watching him for a long time. So all right, let's get back to talking about the plane. I'll see you in a minute. And here we have the plane. Pretty handily my favorite jet. Not that I'm into jets. I don't really have a second favorite jet. This is just my favorite jet. Part of it is it does seem to be the age thing. This is from a similar era to the piston propeller planes that I enjoy. It was the 35A specifically. Learjet was I think started out in the mid 70s, like 1976, and was produced until almost the mid 90s, 1993. Oh, here's the most unfortunate thing about this. I can't get my registration number on the tail. It'll still say my registration number in all the ATC dealings, but I can't get it to visually view on the tail, which is sad. But anyway, we'll just ignore that. We'll pretend it's not there. Maybe when I put this on the thumbnail, I'll oh, look at that, connection lost. That's not cool. It'll come back in a minute. But what's not cool about it is that it pops up in your face all the time when you're losing and regaining connection. See? successfully connected. Thanks for the info. Anyway, yeah, maybe when I use any shots of the plane in the thumbnail, I'll cartoonishly blot out that tail number and put my own in. Anyway, so Learjet, it's cool. It's just, I mean, it doesn't look, it looks cool in the air. There's a lot of views, angles that I love how it looks. Most planes, the V-tail Bonanza notwithstanding. Oh my gosh. Most planes don't look as good sitting on their landing gear on the ground, but and this is true of this one. Uh, I just think it's one of the best looking private airplanes ever made. Certainly the best looking jet, and for someone my age, anyway, I think that when you say private jet, this is what I picture. It seems to me any other jet, any other private jet, smallish, medium to smallish private jet, is only pretending to be this one. This is just the best looking thing. I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail this time around. I mean, we're going to be flying this jet entirely around the world, so maybe I'll walk around and talk about some specific things next time. I'm just going to jump in for now, and it has a fairly extensive checklist that I haven't decided how much I'm gonna get into. I don't know. I'll probably edit out some of it this time. As I said, we're going to be in this plane a whole lot. Oh wow, this is really going to annoy me. This connection loss thing popping up and down all the time. All right. Well, let's pretend to get inside. Look, I successfully connected. Yeah, sure, whatever. All right. So this is from Fly Somewhere. The other plane they have out that I have uh, that I really, really like is the Cessna 414 Chancellor, and we will be getting into that in a later video. There's some similarities between that plane and this one, or at least I should say how the planes were executed in the simulator. There are some similarities. The tablet here is very similar. I was trying to start it out with the chocks in place because I don't have the parking brake set, which is down here, parking brake. I don't have the parking brake set, so I was trying to start with the chocks, but strangely, it's just denying me. It says no. I probably can't do, yeah, it says no. Pitot cover, no. Front cover, which is, yeah, you saw it there for a second, it's the canopy cover. It just says no. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's related to my current connection issues. It let me open the cabin door with this, which you know, you can do it manually, but it's a multi-stage process that I'm not going to get into this time. As a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and close the cabin door. And we're going to take a look at weight and balance to start out with. Actually, we're going to throw some passengers in here. A strange thing, which I haven't flown the Flight Simware's other plane, the 414 Chancellor, in a while, but I thought you could see the co-pilot from inside the plane, and that is not being the case in this one, which is a little disturbing to me. Don't know why that is, because you can see the other passengers. See, I'll show you. We'll throw some passengers in here, and then we'll take a look at the passengers. Let's see. We've got a Rick. We've got a Dorothy in this seat. We've got a Julie in this seat. And we're going to throw a Mary in this seat. And they're going to have some baggage in the back here. It displays the baggage too. I'll show you that. Oh, you know what? Let's bring up the stock or the in-sim weight and balance page so we can compare. This plane also saves the fuel state that I was previously in, but we're going to be adding some fuel, but we'll get back to that. And you can't pick the weights. It put me on a diet 170. Put the co-pilot as 145. And I can't change that. I can't pick. I can't change these weights. If I type it in, it'll just pop right back to default. So anyway, so we got 40 pounds of luggage so far for 6 people. Seems too light, so Now we got another 80, so 120 pounds of luggage. We'll throw a few more in there and another 50 pounds, so 170 pounds of luggage for 6 people. Sure, that seems about right. I don't really know. Let's look at the fuel. Interesting fuel system here. There's as you can see, there's 5 tanks. Yeah, 5 tanks. There's 2 wing-tip tanks, which are rather obvious on this thing. Big old tip tanks. 2 tip tanks, the main tanks in the wings, and then a fuselage tank, a singular fuselage tank. And I think of the ones in the wings, the tanks in the wings, I think of them as the mains because they are the tanks that the engines draw fuel from. The tip tanks sort of drain into the mains in the wings. And the fuselage tank, the only way to get fuel in and out of it is to either pump fuel from the mains into it or then pump the fuel out of the fuselage back into the mains. And I read somewhere that people that work at airports, specifically refueling planes, dislike refueling this plane because you have to pump fuel into the tips, wait for it to drain into the mains, and then electrically pump it into the fuselage, and it's all somewhat tedious. But we're going to fill up the mains. Oh, look, that just changed everything to 50%. That's really annoying. I wonder if I'd done it on here, if it would not have done that. I'll have to try to remember that next time. Anyway, we're going to leave the fuselage at 50%, and we're going to fill everything else and make sure that we're not. I like how it's rocking the plane around as I'm changing the fuel. Make sure we're not out of whack on our weight and balance here. What have we got? We've got the just because this is in red center of gravity, I don't think that it's meaning that it's out of center. This is a visual representation of it here, so looks like we're within our limits. And then as far as our weight, our total weight right now is 17,071 pounds, and our maximum takeoff 18.3. So we're good. We got like over 1,100 pounds of leeway there. But if for some reason we wanted to turn right around and land, like we had some problem or something, we're significantly over our landing weight, and we would have to actually jettison some fuel, which I've never actually done. Maybe we'll try it sometime in one of the many flights we're going to be having in this plane. Another thing that this tablet looks very similar to the one that's in the Chancellor, but on that one you have a temperature gauge for what's going on inside the plane, so you can play the cabin temperature mini game. And this one does not, and I'm thinking it's because the cabin temperature is a very automatically controlled system, and there's just a temperature gauge over here, and you just if people say they're warm, you just turn it down a smidge, and it's not really tracking the actual temperature. It'd be kind of cool if it was, but it is not. Okay, we don't actually really need the tablet anymore, so I'm going to get it out of my face. And we're going to have a quick look at the passengers. We can't look at the co-pilot because she's not here. So here's our passengers. I don't remember their names, but they're the same passengers that you get in the Chancellor. And the Chancellor has slightly bigger windows that are a little higher. I'm not sure if they're really bigger. I think they're just higher, and I think that's the reason that this woman here seems to be just staring at the wall above the window. She's just contemplating her lot in life, I assume. So here's the door. It's complicated. There's switches and things down there. Yeah. There's light switches here. Not going to get into that now. We've got this chick. Let's go ahead and get a little sunlight behind her. This chick, she seems to be somewhat preoccupied with this guy. I believe his name was Rick, or now his name is Warning Connection Lost. Open up another. These blinds are noisy. Anyway, Yes, this chick seems a little preoccupied with Rick, if I'm honest. But then Rick, oh, connection lost. Anyway, Rick is really preoccupied with this chick, and she looks like she knows it. She's aware that she's one point of a triangle that seems to be going on here. Anyway, I could get more passengers, and some of them are friendlier looking than others, but we'll open up a couple more blinds and call it good. Now the dogs in my house are barking like crazy, but I don't think you guys can hear that. At least you haven't in the past. So, also there's a cabin door here if I don't want to deal with any drama that may be going on between these people back here. I can always close the door. I think we'll leave that closed and we'll just go through it like a ghost. Okay. I guess it's time to get this thing fired up. First thing I should probably do is get some hydraulic pressure going so I can engage the parking brake. Since I'm sitting here without chocks or parking brake or anything, I guess I'm just lucky that the airport here is nice and level. Just so I'm not moving the camera around so much, we're going to make the control yoke disappear, which there's a couple different ways to do it. You can click on the base down here, you can click on this little glowy bit on the side, or you can click on this yellow highlighter or pen or whatever it is right here. But and also a strange thing is I can't seem to set the main battery switches to be bound to a physical switch on my hardware for some reason. And I feel like if I'm remembering correctly, it's the same way in the Chancellor. I know part of it here is that there's two battery switches, but I don't know. Maybe I'll screw with it another time. But I'm not operating off the checklist right now. I'm just going to get power on so I can engage the parking brake. But I believe I'm supposed to put the emergency battery on standby, and then these two in the on position, and then the primary and secondary inverters on. And then I still can't set the parking brake because it's hydraulic, and there's no hydraulic pressure. So there's a hydraulic, here's a hydraulic pressure gauge. There's a separate hydraulic pump. I'll turn on the pump, watch the pressure come up. Now I should be able to set the parking brake. Yes, now parking brake set, and I'm going to turn the hydraulic pump back off. I have an extensive checklist for this plane that I actually got, I think, from flightsim.to, which is usually not very useful to us Xbox people because we can't get all that free add-on software, but I got a checklist from there. If I can, I'll link it in the description. It's this checklist that's specifically set up for this add-on, so it doesn't have a lot of stuff that you wouldn't be able to do when you're simulating flight versus really trying to take off in a Learjet 35A. Anyway, I think for the purposes of this flight, like I said, we're going to be in this plane a lot. I think for this flight, I'm going to go ahead and edit out me running through the checklist. And I guess it's worth mentioning this plane, as far as I know, does not have any random failures. It's got a fairly good amount of systems depth, although the circuit breakers, which there are many of, are not yet modeled. They're probably going to model them eventually in an update, but the circuit breakers are not yet modeled. If they were, I'd say that this was a very in-depth plane, but the rest of the systems are pretty in-depth, and you can abuse it and hurt things, I believe, but random failures don't really happen. So going over the checklist with a fine-tooth comb to test things, probably not necessary, and I'm not really going to do that this time around. But I am going to just go ahead and give the recording a break, and I'll get back with you guys once it's all fired up and ready to taxi. So it'll be a few minutes for me, and it'll be just a couple seconds for you guys. See you in a bit. Okay, I lied. I'm back before I had it all start up. It occurred to me I've not done a jet before, so maybe I should show starting one engine. I've got the power on. I've got the nav and beacon light on. Everything else was pretty much on already that needed to be on by default, like the engine sync switches are off, the jet pumps are on. It's all kind of stuff that just sort of is normally that way. But we're going to start the left engine first because I believe I started the right engine first the last time I was flying the plane, which last time I flew the plane is a whole nother story. I'll probably tell. But we're gonna start an engine. These throttle levers are in the cutoff position, which I really wish I could model, or not model, but I wish I could bind to something on the Honeycomb Bravo, like, because the actual throttles on the Bravo have a detent, full back detent like that, and I have tried and tried to model it to this cutoff, and it doesn't work. So I have to get them in cutoff, I have to highlight them with the mouse and actually click them. But they have to be in cutoff, and then I hit the start generator switch to start, which that's this one right here for the left engine. You have the left generator off and the start position. So I put it down to the start position, and then I make sure that I've got at least 10% on both of these gauges. These is the N1 and the N2. Actually, I think it only needs to be 10% on the N2. Yeah, 10% on the N2, and just making sure that I've got something on the N1. So obviously I've got way more than enough. And then I introduce fuel by getting the throttle up out of the cutoff position. And I watch for this starter light to go off. And when it does, I can switch this up to the generator position. So now it's making electricity for the plane. So I'm good there. Depending on how you have your volume set, you might be hearing a ticking noise, and that is called a clacker. It's a clacker for the N1 and N2 gauges, and it ticks away whenever there's movement of the needles. When the needles are in motion, you get that clacker ticking noise, and I could turn it off. But we'll see how much it annoys me since I'm wearing a headset and I can hear it much better than I normally can. But you know, if it goes away as soon as I get things stabilized, I might just go ahead and leave it be. But we'll go ahead and start the other engine while we're here, and then I'll pause the recording again until I get it all fired up. Actually, when I come back, we'll come back to test a couple of things before taking off, just because it looks cool. You'll see what I mean when I come back. Oh yeah, we're way over on that one too. So introducing fuel to the right engine, and waiting for the starter light to go off. It went off. Switching generator, and the Learjet's all fired up. All right, be back with you guys in a moment. All right, gang, we're back. The first thing I'm going to do is make it a little quieter in the plane. This is another plane that has a headset simulation here. Click on that, and it quiets down substantially, and then I click on where it's plugged in to make it come back. Pretty cool. I wish every plane had that. We're getting ready to taxi. We're supposed to taxi first and then test a bunch of stuff right before takeoff, but I'm going to test the stuff now, just because I feel like it. But first I'm going to turn on the taxi lights, which the lights are a weird situation in this. You've got the bulk of the exterior lighting is over here. Beacon light, nav light, strobe light, recognition light, stuff like that. But then you have landing and taxi lights, a left and right version of both on one switch each over here. They're in the off position now, so we put them up to the taxi position for now. And then this is also the light for the no smoking and fasten seat belts sign back there. I'm just going to put it on fasten seatbelts, and it makes that little noise. Okay, so the things we're going to test. We're going to take an exterior shot of the plane to test a few things. First thing I need to do, though, is while I'm looking up here at all the many lights, it reminds me the nose wheel steering locks on this plane, and so I need to unlock it before I start taxiing, and that I did bind to a button. But normally it's this little button down here. So obviously if you're landing and you need to unlock the nose wheel to go off on a taxiway, it's a pain to look down here and get this tiny little button. But I bound it to a button on my Honeycomb Bravo, and there, that green light means we've got nose wheel steering. But while we're over here, we're going to arm the thrust reversers, which I'll show you those in a minute because we're going to test them. Okay, the thrust reversers are armed. How you deploy the thrust reversers is with these extra levers on top of the throttle levers. And the Honeycomb Bravo came with throttle levers, 4 of them, that have those little extra levers on top, and that's what I have in place here. And I have them bound to do that, but unfortunately it doesn't physically show that in the plane. It'll actually engage deploy the thrust reversers, but for whatever reason it doesn't show it. Here, I'll flip one of them. See, I flip one of them and I get nothing. But if we go to the exterior shot and I flip them, there we've got thrust reversers. Okay, now while we're back here, we're going to look at the spoilers or air brakes. Those are working. And we're going to check out the flaps. Full travel. And then back up to 8 degrees for takeoff. And we'll go ahead and check the flight controls while we're here. All right, I don't know how you really check that stuff in real life since you can't see most of it from in the plane. But whatever. I'm also supposed to put the weather radar on standby, but for some reason standby is not working. It just goes straight to on. So we'll flip it on when we're over getting ready to take off. All right, let me consult the extensive checklist and see. Let's see, nav lights, taxi lights, that's all on. Before takeoff, I'm supposed to test the reversers, the spoilers, the flaps, have the trim set in the right place, turn on the pitot heat. Okay, we'll come back to that when we get over there. Should I edit out the taxiing or should I taxi? I got everything in. I got the flight plan in. I got the altimeters set. I have the CDI needle on the runway heading. I have the heading bug on our initial heading we're supposed to be on when we're leaving here. I had to do some math because this is up because you're supposed to use your center of gravity to determine where you put your elevator trim, and it was 7.1 to 7.3, so I believe I've been in about a 7.1 setting there. And then you're supposed to also figure out based on your altitude and your temperature outside the maximum N1 percentage you can climb with. And I had calculated it at 89.4, and I realized now that I was thinking of the altitude wrong. So I kind of need to recalculate that, but I think instead we're just gonna give it a couple more, and we'll make the maximum 89.6. Sure, we'll see how it does. I might crash. I'm not great with this plane. I can tell you more about that later. I did a couple of flights to kind of reorientate myself, and unfortunately, the most recent of those flights was the one that went the most wrong for some reason. But you know, it is what it is. Anyway, let's get taxiing, shall we? Looking pretty good. Nobody I'm gonna suck up into an engine around here. Not that that happens, but you know, trying to be realistic. Releasing the parking brake and giving it a little juice. I hear the clacking from the engine gauges moving. Wow, needs a little more juice to get rolling than I'm used to at this altitude. This is a crazy, crazy altitude. Yeah, we're gonna disarm the thrust reversers for now. We'll have to rearm them before takeoff. You're supposed to arm them before takeoff in case you change your mind about the takeoff and you want to stop real fast on the rollout. So you're supposed to have them armed. Yeah, that ticking. I don't know, coming through on my headset a little too good. Yeah, I might disable that with the tablet. This plane also makes a strange amount of noise when it's rolling on the ground with any speed. It starts to sound like a cluster of shopping carts together. You know, the sound it makes when the people are gathering all the shopping carts and rolling them back inside the store. Not sure what that sound is supposed to be, or... There, you can hear it a little bit now. I'm assuming your volume is up enough. Yeah. Yep, sounds like a bunch of shopping carts. I don't know why. Let's see, what are we taxiing at here? Oh, I don't have ground speed on here, do I? Yeah, I've only got the one screen, so I don't have ground speed on there because I can get ground speed with these other things once we're actually up and flying, so yeah, say Libby. Let's see. Yeah, this whole thing with the nose wheel steering, you're supposed to lock the nose wheel once your airspeed really comes alive on the takeoff roll. But for whatever reason, I have that bound to a button, and it doesn't toggle back off for some reason. There's a button I can push on the yoke that will do it. I think it's this little red button here. Yeah, see, that makes it go away. And now I gotta push the button again to get it back, or we'll, not have any steering. Yeah, I don't know why it is that way, but it is. We'll get rid of some of these lights over here when we get ready to take off. Like, this is the stall warning vanes. Those are down here somewhere. Let's say, yeah, I believe it's those. There, we can get rid of those. Get rid of those right now. Yeah, slowed down enough to get rid of most of the shopping cart noise. Yeah, again, I have never flown this plane with the headset on, so yeah, definitely sounds a little different. Alright, we're gonna back our view out some for the takeoff. Nice little run-up area over here, which we're not gonna use because apparently you don't really do run-ups on jets. Let's see, where is this? Is there more runway to be had? Because I'm not sure how I feel about this high altitude takeoff. Let's see, is there more? Oh, there's like a weird turnaround, and that's peculiar. I guess that's why it goes on straight. Okay, I want to make sure it didn't loop around up here, and there was more runway to be had, but no, there's not. There's a turnaround. That's peculiar. All right, let's get over there. Hopefully 13,000 feet or whatever it was is enough to get off the ground at this altitude. I'm sure it is, but I'm more sure that it's enough to get off the ground for a Learjet than what I'm not sure of is that I'm going to be doing everything right. That's what I'm unsure of. For the takeoff, I can go to, if my calculations were correct, 96% on the N1. But then as soon as we're climbing, I should back off to this 89.6, which, you know, I fudged the math a little bit there. Let's turn on the weather radar, run it out a little bit, switch it to just weather. What else should we do? Oh gosh, let's get rid of the stick again. I don't know. This is where you do the monitoring nav too, if I knew the frequency for the weather where we're going, but I don't know there is weather where we're going. Let's see. Pitot heat. We're supposed to put the windshield heat on hold. According to SkyVector, we're not going into any icing, but you know, you never know. Everything else should be set right there. Oh, for takeoff, you're supposed to go air ignition on these switches here, which is it's hard to explain if you don't know anything about jets, and I'm only assuming that I'm understanding what it's doing. But I believe it's got igniters firing in the engines in case we have a flame out during takeoff. It should hopefully restart an engine right away without having too much loss of power, because after you start climbing, you're supposed to turn these back off. I believe unless you're in weather, like if you're in precipitation, you're probably supposed to leave them on too, so the moisture doesn't flame your engines out. Ooh, let's get rid of that. Bank. Okay, shut up. We're gonna ignore the ATC. We're going to pretend we're on an IFR. I chose 1122 as our transponder code. So we're going to put that on altitude reporting. We got the weather radar on. Let's switch these lights to landing. Let's see, we already got the stall heat on. Let's get rid of this yoke too. I already got the pressurization set. Got it set for 44,000 feet, planning on cruising at 43,000 feet, which is super high. Just crazy. You can see I've spent over 26 hours in this plane. You'd think I'd be better with it than I am. But anyway, I've got the pressurization on. I've got the climate control set Midland cool and on automatic. And the temperature says it's in the middle-ish. Flaps are at 8 degrees. Let's see, let's turn on the strobe lights and recognition lights. And I think that's probably it. Oh, no, I gotta turn on the yaw damper. There's a primary and a secondary yaw damper. I've got the power on both of them. I need to try to hit engage. I cannot get this slaved to a button, so right after retracting the landing gear, when I'm looking like this, I'm going to have to look down here and try to hit this little engage button right there. It's going to suck, but I can't seem to get that to bind to a physical button the way it does in other planes. So let me take a quick look at the crazy checklist here. See, the spoilers are retracted. I see reversers are armed. Yep, that's why I'm looking at the checklist. Reversers armed. Spoilers retracted. Flaps at 8 or 20 degrees. We're at 8. Trim is set for takeoff. Pitot heat on. Windshield heat on hold. Radio altimeter is on. I think it's supposed to be radar altimeter. Oh, no, it says radio altimeter. I don't understand that. Maybe we'll look it up sometime. But yeah, that's on. Air ignition switch is on. Left and right stall warnings on. Cabin air is on. That's this switch over here. Cabin air is on. Yaw damper, primary and secondary on. Yep. Transponder on, altitude, weather radar on, nav lights, recognition lights, strobes, landing lights. Yep, that's all. Hunky-dory. For takeoff, you're supposed to line up, get at least 40% N1, release the brakes, advance the throttles to takeoff power. Supposed to turn the nose wheel steering off, but it'll turn itself off when the weight comes off the landing gear. Supposed to put the gear up and turn the yaw damper on when we've got a positive rate of climb. When you're at 1,500 feet up, you're supposed to set to climb power. and accelerate to 250 knots, which I don't know. We're probably going to only accelerate to 200. Yeah, I had to do math also to determine the rotate speed. The rotate speed is different on this plane depending on your weight and whatnot. And you've got these little speed bugs here on the airspeed indicator. So my rotate speed is 141 or 41 knots. Crazy. There's some planes I fly that don't go 141 knots, and that's the rotate speed on this plane. So 141's rotate speed. 200 is the speed I like to be at to climb in this plane. It says 250, but 250 is the actual speed limit below 10,000. Not that that's going to matter. We're going to blow through 10,000 in our hurry. But then that's why I have this bug set at 250. That's the speed limit below 10,000 feet is 250 knots, and you can blow that in this plane plenty easily. All right, I think we're set. All right, let's pretend we got clearance. Pretend we got clearance, and let's roll out there and see if I can set the get the power settings correct. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer now. I like to try to time these flights, and I usually forget that. Helps too if you do the actual fast forwarding the sim. It helps to have that timer going if you want to have a realistic idea of how long a flight took, you know, so. Alright, because, you know, obviously if you fast forward it, then if you did any kind of timing in real life, it's going to be off. Yeah, that clickety-clack might have to go. We'll see. If it's anything like past videos, when I listen to the recording, I won't be able to hear it at all, probably. So you guys probably aren't hearing it, but you know, just in case, let's go ahead and let's get rid of the clickety-clack noises before we get into this. Don't want it to be accidentally annoying, or at least any more annoying than I can help. Disable the trim clacker. That'll be happening when the autopilot's on too. And 1 and then 2 clackers. Okay. We are hunky-dory there. Alright, let's get these back on, because, oh, we're about to have a big jumbo jet right up our butts. Oh, and the wind. The wind doesn't look great. Ooh, this is going to be weird. Okay, so you get 40% N1, which the N1 is these 2 gauges down here. I don't know why N1's down here and N2's up here, but that's the way it is. And then I don't know why the N1 power reminder thing is up here by the N2 gauges. Again, just the way it is. Okay, we've got 40% N1. I'm supposed to release the brakes and try to get those on 89.6. Wish me luck, folks, because that seems pretty specific. And plus there's a lot of drift on it. Okay, I got 90. I'm good with 90. I'm not going to try to change that. Wow, she is taking a while to get up to speed, and I'm having to turn the yoke into the wind to keep it level and give it a lot of right rudder because of that crosswind. Yeah, it's taking a lot of runway, that's for sure. Taking a lot of runway. Yeah, we took off a little, well, we're not exactly taking off yet, although we're not touching the ground. Whew. Yeah, that was a little hairy. Okay, I'm gonna tap the brakes, bring up the landing gear, and try to hit the, oh god. Okay, yaw dampers on. Oh. Okay, at 1,500 feet. AGL, which is going to be around, I don't know, 9,400 or so. Oh, you know what? That's what I did wrong. I told you what I was supposed to do, and then I did exactly the wrong thing. I was supposed to go 96%. for takeoff. I was supposed to these two 96% for takeoff and then down to 89 for the climb. No wonder. I completely sabotaged myself. Here, let's disarm the reversers. Since we didn't actually need them. Oh, and look at that, way over 10,000. Let's roll onto course. Let's raise the flaps. Maybe we'll get some speed going here. Okay, the max continuous power. Yeah, I'm such an idiot. I could have gone 96% for the takeoff and then backed it off now to the max continuous climb. That was dumb. And I kind of turned the wrong way. Yeah, I turned the wrong way. We're just gonna make a big loop. Yeah, I'm really botching this flight. If it was going any worse, I would think about starting over on the recording. You guys are gonna get this pretty much raw and you know, unfiltered comedy of errors here. But hey, I don't fly jets. I don't think anybody in their right mind would give me a license to fly a jet. Yeah, this does kind of remind me of the last my previous flight before this one, where I was trying to get myself reacquainted with how this plane works. I took off into a low ceiling and heavy rain, and I didn't crash. I didn't get the black screen of death. I didn't crash and die or anything. But it was a close thing, because when I was turning onto course, well, this plane, it feels pretty good to hand fly, but I don't know, I feel like it doesn't stay at the bank angle you put it at as easily on its own as some planes do. And I was in the process of doing all the things I'm supposed to do, you know, putting up the flaps and engaging the yaw damper and all this other kind of stuff. And I looked down at the attitude indicator here, and I'm at a 90-degree bank angle. And I was just, you know, just in clouds, just in soupy clouds. Couldn't begin to see the ground or anything. And so it was just a 90-degree bank angle. I'm like, oh my God. So I managed to get it under control without, you know, spiraling into the earth or anything. But yeah, it was a little scary there for a minute. Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, as much as I suck at flying this plane, I have yet to get a black screen of death in this plane, which I probably shouldn't have said that at this early stage in this flight, but here we are. Because I mean, look here, we're heading towards these mountains. I mean, this thing has got pretty good climb characteristics, but we're already at 15,000 feet, 15 and a half. So you know, I think I'm gonna get some autopilot going on here. Okay, engage the autopilot. I'm gonna hit heading mode for now and steer us over a little closer to the magenta line there before going to nav. And then I'm gonna hit speed on the climb if it's slaved. Yeah, it is. So I want to keep climbing at this speed, is what I just told the autopilot. This is the speed I want to keep climbing at, so it should behave accordingly here. Yeah, I'm gonna go back up to an even 90 on the power, at least as close as I can get, since my math was wrong on the Yeah, I mean, I haven't blown up an engine yet, and I haven't always been as careful with the math on that. I mean, this is the highest airport I've ever taken off from, so that had something to do with it. I guess I should make sure we're still going to clear these mountains, huh? Set that back to terrain, huh? just to make sure. Yeah, seems like it's okay. I should probably look at the checklist to make sure there aren't things I should be doing. Oh, you know what? I should be turning off the air ignition switches. I can turn off the landing and taxi lights. Because I think they're on the landing gear anyway, so. The other lighting I'm going to leave on for now. See, pressurization is coming up, so that all looks good. So it's just a question of whether we're going to get over this mountain or not. It's not an insignificant question, but yeah. Oh, I should hit nav mode, I guess, now. Nav mode. Follow the magenta. Yeah, this is one of the, well, I guess only 3 planes that those of us flying on the Xbox can use a GTN 750 on. It's this plane, the obviously the Duke, Black Square Duke, has the 750 and the 650, which is cool. But then FlySimware's other plane, the 414 Chancellor, you have twin 750s. That's ideal. That's really nice. 2 750s side by side. You guys will see that eventually. It'll definitely be a plane I'm in at some point, probably for the maybe I'll do that plane for the next I found a plane for sale video, and we'll fly it home. But you'll probably see it for legs of the lower 48 capitals tour also. We're probably not going to get into any other planes for this round the world at the Equator series unless another plane comes along that can, go this high and this fast. Which, by the way, we're above 18,000 feet now, so I should have reset the altimeters to standard, 2992. Just for funsies, I'm going to leave this little alternate altimeter set where it was, but we'll set both of these primary altimeters to 2992. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll take a look at the checklist. We made it over the mountains. So that's a good thing. Yep, it's some rugged terrain here. Okay, there is a checklist that comes in the tablet, but this one I got from flightsim.to is way better. Like I said, I'll try to remember to link it. Alright, climb power set, reversers off, yaw damper on, air ignition switch is off. Transition altitude altimeter set to standard. I guess that's it for the climb, huh? Yeah, that's it for the climb. Next would be the cruise checklist, which is cruise power set, fuel balance check, anti-ice as required, pressurization and climate monitor, blah blah blah. Then it's descent after that. Okay. All right, we're not doing too bad, and we're a little over halfway up to 43,000 feet. We're still climbing at 1,400 feet per minute. And around 210 indicated. Of course, our true airspeed is 312 knots. Thank you very much. Oh, can we get ground speed on here? Yeah. Over the ground, we're pulling 298. Nice. Alright, let's back that out. 298 knots over the ground, and we're still climbing at 1,400 feet per minute or so. Crazy. That's a jet for you. One of these days, I got to figure out the significance of the wing and stabilizer temperatures. Because usually when I'm in the cruise, particularly, they start getting up into the red. I don't know why, what that means exactly. Anyway, let's take a look at the pressurization over here. You know what? I really don't need this yoke at all. Let's ditch that yoke. So I'm trying to look over it all the time. Yeah, pressurization's going fine. Now I should turn the engine sinks on, probably. Or is that only at cruise? I don't know. I don't really know. One of them doesn't work anyway. Yeah, that one. Engine sync doesn't work anyway. The turbine sync does. Okay, I decided to turn it on anyway. Yeah, everything else is where it's supposed to be. All right, how are we doing? 25, almost 26,000 feet. Once we get up to altitude, we're gonna take a look at the outside, because this is just the best looking private jet ever. All right, well, I might go ahead and pause the video, and I'll get back with you when we're at cruising altitude. See you in a minute. All right, folks, we're just about leveled off at 43,000 feet. I was just taking a look back here, seeing how the love triangle is going. Seems to be going exactly the same. So we'll go ahead and close the door on that. Anyway, oh, there we are, hitting 43. We went over 43,000. That is big. Oh, you know what? I never armed it. That was dumb. I never armed. I should have hit altitude select to arm it. I was thinking I didn't need to do that in this plane, but I do. So that warning was probably, that beeping was probably that we went over our selected altitude. I think I'm okay with it. I'm gonna let it stay at 43.4. It's only 400 over. I'm not actually in contact with ATC. I can't actually hit another airplane. We're just gonna let it go. 45,000 is the service ceiling for this plane, I believe. But now that we're at altitude, I'm going to back the throttle off some. I was looking, while I had the video, the recording paused, I was looking at the max continuous power figures, and they go up as your altitude goes up. So that's why I'm up here at 97 point whatever for the climb. But, you know, obviously we want to back it off for the cruise some, because if I'm reading this, this pounds per hour gauge properly, burning 1,400 pounds of fuel per hour, about 700 pounds per engine per hour. That works out. I did the little checking, and that works out to about 120 gallons per hour that we're sucking through. So, so I don't know. I think we'll back the N1 down to I don't know, 90%. It's a relatively short flight, and we've got plenty of fuel. So why don't we try 90%? If I can get the throttles lined up at all, because there's a lot of drift. You make a movement, even a small movement, and you get a lot of number changing on here. Let's see how close I can get to 90% on the N1. Ooh, we got 90%. Oh, well, I had 90% briefly. 89.9. 89.8 on the right engine. I'm happy with that. That brings us down to 500 gallons, or I'm sorry, 500 pounds per hour in each engine, so 1,000 pounds per hour. Sticking it in the calculator that I found online here. Hold on. I have to calculate twice because this only will do it into per minute for some reason. So 1,000 gallons per, or I'm sorry, I keep doing that. 1,000 pounds per hour works out to That's still up there. That's still a lot. That can't be right. It's giving me virtually the same answer I had before. I don't understand that. Maybe I gotta reset it. Okay, hit reset. 1,000 pounds per hour. Still coming out the same. Well, I guess no matter what, we're going to be burning like over 100 gallons per hour in this thing if we want to go fast. Yeah, I didn't talk more about the fuel. Oh, by the way, true airspeed 439 knots, and our ground speed 433 knots. So, yeah, pushing 500 miles an hour over the ground. Because let's see, be 60. Yeah, we're doing like 470, something like that. 475 miles an hour over the ground. That's what you get if you cough up 1,000 pounds per hour of fuel. Yeah, the fuel system is down here. We'll go over that real briefly, and then I'll probably make this the end of part 1 because the video's already just over an hour long, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, this is kind of weird. So the left tip tank has about 600 pounds in it. Left wing, about 1,200 pounds, which is the max. The fuselage tank is about 600 pounds. The right wing main tank and right tip are about the same as the left, and then you get a total here. So we've got 4,500 pounds of fuel, and we're burning over 100 pounds per hour, so you can figure out how far you can go like that. These are the standby fuel pumps, boost pumps, which the regular checklist never calls for you to turn on. And then this is the fuel transfer system for moving fuel in and out of the fuselage tank. And then this is the fuel jettison system, which blows it out of the tips. It only comes out of the tips, which makes sense. If the tips were empty, you're never gonna be overweight where you have to throw fuel out. So at least that's my take on it. So that's where we are now. I'm going to turn the simulator volume down while we get some outside shots. Turning it down. All right, let's go to the magical drone camera, which is in a weird position. Well, that was terrible. I probably should have edited that out. I'll put up some kind of a warning about that you're about to vomit before that, because that was a lot. All right, here we are at 43,000 feet over South America. I don't think that's the Amazon yet down there. I could be wrong. Yeah, now I'm curious. Let's take a look. Would that be the Amazon? No, because the Amazon's over here. Yeah, that's some other river. We're not getting to the Amazon on this leg. So no, answers that question. Yeah, that's what 43,000 feet looks like. And this is what the Learjet looks like, complete with its contrail. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, that's just a hot looking plane right there. Looks fast, is fast. Burns through an extravagant amount of fuel. So fun to do it virtually, so we don't have to spend any money on fuel. Yeah, if I use any of these shots for a thumbnail, I'll try to write in my tail number there. Anyway, all right, we'll call this the end of part 1 of this, the first leg of the Around the World at the Equator. And I will catch you guys in part 2. Papa Whiskey Bravo, signing off.